talking about marketing for your commercial real estate brokerage company. And as I've confessed many times in many videos that I like to bring professionals in because I'm not the best at this. You know, we really like to bring the professionals in to walk us through the process and the best path to get us to our end goal. And for that, I've got Najla and Michelle from Cayenne Marketing you're out of Scottsdale, correct?
Yeah, we're out of Scottsdale, but we operate nationwide, and we're essentially a boutique real estate development marketing firm. We only work with consumer real estate groups. We've been doing this I've been in this business for about 22 years, and I've had this firm for about 13 years. And we have a team of subject matter experts in marketing, generalists and specific niche group folks that manage and market for real estate brokerage groups, for lifestyle centers, for regional shopping malls, for institutional capital, for high net worth individuals, for family offices, and we help them increase the asset value of their properties through a variety of marketing opportunities. So my name is Najla Kayyem, and I'm happy to join you here today. And we've got our operations director and marketing director here, Michelle Berryman, who's also joining us. And we're just excited to give you some insight into how to market, in the brokerage community better.
Yeah, I should probably introduce George, I guess. I was going to jump right in and go. But George Pino is my business partner, and he's the CEO of Commercial Brokers International in Los Angeles. George, you want to say hello to everybody?
No, thanks for having me on board. Really looking forward to this. I mean, I think that Commercial Brokers International has been at the forefront for some of the marketing efforts that we've done and put out, being one of the first ones on some of the different platforms, whether on the social media side, on TikTok, or Instagram, even way before they were even being utilized. So, I mean, I definitely believe in the marketing. I love to hear some of the ideas from Najla and her team on how we can actually increase value, because I think that's really important for a lot of clients through the utilization of marketing. But also, I think it's really important to talk about, maybe not at this time, but maybe in a second video, about possibly how marketing for brokerage companies and agents themselves can be so effective.
Yeah, and we'll actually pepper a lot of that in, George. We've had some really success marketing individuals within brokerage groups as well, especially if they have a niche or a specific brand or something that we're able to kind of leech on and really help promote within the business. So thanks again for having us. We're excited to dive in and share some trade secrets.
Yeah, I really see an opportunity for smaller brokerage companies to bring in, to really brand themselves and market themselves right now and really gain market share. And that's why I thought today's video was so important for a lot of these brokerage companies to be hearing from somebody that's done it with some of the major companies that are out, some of the major brokerage firms that are out there, and hear what you've done that's been highly successful. And so, I'm really looking forward to this, because Commercial Brokers International we've been doing, I want to say, social marketing for almost 15 years already. And so we're firm believers in it. We're definitely not the best at it. People like you we would just get killed by you guys, but I'm anxious to hear what you guys have to say. So let's say I've got a local brokerage firm. How do I have 20 or 30 agents? How do I compete? Right? Exactly.
Where do I start?
Jumping right in.
Now. So
I want to hear this one. How do we, with CBREs, the JLLs, how do I get their business? Of course.
Okay, so you're talking about how to. Sorry, rephrase that question again. You want to get the large brokerage business?
No, well, I want to get more leads, just generating more leads. How do I get some of the larger?
Yeah. So we start at the basics first. So we start with, who are you? What's your brand? What's your mission? What's your vision? What's your core values? What do you stand for? Who are your target audiences? Who's your target market? And we really try to understand that, because you can't be all things to all people. So we have to distill down what that looks like and where you're going to spend your time, energy, effort, and money. What's your unique selling proposition? What's your brand name? What does it look like? what does it look like to the external world? You know, what's your visual identity? What's the logo? What's the tone? What's the voice that you're using? How consistent are you in portraying and communicating that message on a, you know, daily, weekly, monthly, semi-annual, consistent basis, so that you're constantly in front of what you're trying to do versus, you know, trying to play catch up.
Sending mixed messages, yeah. It's really a similar formula, whether you're a large group or a small local group. It's starting with the brand basics and knowing your brand, and whether you're an individual or a small brokerage or a large brokerage, who are you? What are your values? How do you project those? And staying consistent on every channel that you communicate with.
Yeah, here's the thing. I've been doing marketing for quite a while, so if I was just a commercial broker and I just heard everything you guys said, I'd be having a heart attack right now going, what? I need to do that? And so I think, George, you can probably agree, sitting there going, okay, now I don't even know where to start. So how do I start? What is the best? I mean, I heard everything that you said, and I need to figure out my brand, right?
Yeah, so you could start by, you know, engaging with a group like us, or with somebody who can consult with you on the marketing side, who can assess and evaluate, just like you would with a property or with a new prospect or with a new client. You're going to go in and do your due diligence. You're going to do your homework. You're going to see where you're at, right? What's as is, where is, and then we're going to build from there. So we're going to try to fix what's broken, and then we're going to move forward. So a lot of it is assessing where you're currently at, and then putting a mark on where you want to go, and then reverse engineering and working backwards to develop that. So we work essentially in a strategy, right? What's our goal? What's our objective? What are we trying to achieve? 6 months from now, you're going to high five me because we did what? You got what as the result? And then we work backwards in the tactics. So tactics support the strategy, and we work from the strategy first to really help brands and brokerages, you know, get to the milestone that matters.
Okay. Do you guys do a lot? I mean, are you social heavy? Do you do a lot of social marketing?
Yeah, so we're everything heavy. Customers and clients are channel agnostic, just like in the shopping center business or just shopping anywhere. You want what you want, when you want it, how you want it. So you have to work in all platforms, but you also have to meet your audience. So when we go back to saying, who are you? Who's your target? Who's your market? What are you trying to achieve? We also look at where those audiences are spending their time. So for example, in the last year, a lot of commercial real estate has gone online. So we've invested very heavily in LinkedIn and in Instagram with a lot of commercial brokerage groups to help build up their brand, because you went from shaking hands and kissing babies at events on a very regular basis to being stuck at home and doing everything on Zoom or through your phone. And so in order to maintain those mutually beneficial relationships, you need to be out in front of where your target market is. So whether that's tenants or other brokers or other landlords, we want to figure out where their eyeballs are and then market in those spaces.
Are you guys using TikTok at all, or very much at this point?
Yeah, we do have some brands that are using TikTok, mostly on the consumer lifestyle side or shopping center brand side, creating like spaces and places. There are a couple individual agents that we've worked with that are using it, but a lot of the brokerage groups are not yet.
Yeah, I do. I see a lot of individual commercial real estate agents on there, but very, very few commercial brokers. We're on there.
And the reason is because you can't fake TikTok. You can't have somebody else manage it for you. It has to be you doing it. And so unless the principal or the partner or someone in that organization is into TikTok and wants to take the lead, it's not going to be as authentic when you outsource that. Now you can outsource Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn all day long and have that voice, but TikTok is a little bit of a different beast.
Right. You know, what your average clients on the brokerage side, brokerage company, what is your average company size that you're dealing with? Are you finding that the smaller companies are really starting to take a look at social marketing or all the marketing that you're doing, or is it predominantly the larger brokerage firms?
It's small to medium size. Typically,
Okay.
once they get to a point in the medium size, they need to bring their marketing in-house, and then that'll be handled in-house. So we do a lot of incubating, showing the importance of marketing, creating a plan, developing a pathway, getting them going, and then they get to the point where like, wow, this is a beast, and it needs its own person in-house. So we also do a lot of recruiting for marketing in-house for brokerage groups so that they can continue with our plan, and then we advise them and help them work through those plans. So majority of them are small to medium size, anywhere between 4 agents to 150 agents. The groups that have more than that typically have their own internal marketing departments.
Yeah, I would think. Are you working with any individual agents at this point, or do you take individual agents on?
We do. We typically take the individual agents on if we're managing the brokerage, because it's a lot easier for content. We certainly could do individual work, but it just seems to have been easier if we have the brokerage account as part of it, to leverage content and to leverage the information that's coming through.
Yeah, absolutely. George, did you want to? George,
Actually, sorry.
Step.
I was actually going to ask, how important do you feel it is for the actual individual agents to do their own marketing in that aspect then, that at least ties into the brand with the company or along those lines? I mean, if you're looking at that.
Yeah, I can answer that. It's equally important for the agents to be involved as the company, and they play off of each other. So you post pictures of you're at a meeting and post that on the corporate account, and then tag the individual account. So it gives, having individual accounts gives a little bit more personalization, a little bit more humanization to the brand, and it allows people to follow up either with you directly versus just doing a direct message to the corporate brand. So it's all part of it. It's hard for a corporate brand to have an authentic social media presence when none of the agents are on social as well.
Or the agents aren't engaged in sharing the content. Social has really blown up in the last, I'd say 18 months in this space. Before, it was very underutilized. We were just using it on marketing places and spaces and consumer places where people were going and or specific retailers. But now it's being used. We're doing a lot of cases online. Michelle can actually speak directly, but the direct messaging that we're doing on behalf of brokers for specific brands or on behalf of landlords to try to target for a specific space, we've seen a tremendous amount of really good feedback from that in the sense of setting up meetings for people, right? So those are leads essentially. And if we can set up a meeting with the client or the retailer that you're looking for, through engaging with them and having a relationship with them online, it's amazing. So you maybe want to expand on that a little bit?
Sure. So it is just showing, having a presence and showing that you also have street credit and you're paying attention and listening to what's out there. It's not just putting your information out, it's engaging and being a part of it. So when you direct message somebody, you're able to really, or social media in general, you can really target with hashtags and location searches. You can target who you're looking for. So if you have a spot that you want a niche coffee bar at, you can search by hashtags, coffee, Chino Valley, wherever you're looking for, or, see who else is out there and direct message them and reach out and just start a conversation. And we're finding that direct messaging, when it's done well, it's having 70, 80, 90% response rate. And then setting up meetings and actually having a next step is like 70 to 80%. But most people will respond to a message, even if they say, oh, we're not interested at this time, but keep us in the loop on that property.
Okay. Are you finding that commercial brokerage companies, I know residential has been a lot more open to putting themselves out there on social. Have you noticed over the last year or so that commercial brokerages are being a lot more receptive to marketing themselves online?
Yeah, I mean, you have to. You have no option anymore. It's like having a website now. It's like if you don't do it, you're not credible. So it's a mainstay, it's a standard, it's a base case now. If you're not doing it, you're behind the boat already. I would suggest to get out there and start a program and start something where there is some consistency. But absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, it's just, I was having a talk with a broker from a large firm very big firm. And they just said, I said, well, I was telling them about a lead we got from our social. And he couldn't believe we were getting leads off of social. And I'm like, it works,
Well,
but it's really.
Yeah. I was going to say the days of calling Bob at the Limited to do a 5 portfolio deal are over. Like that doesn't work anymore. So people have to pound the pavement. You've got to get out there. You've got to get in the market. You have to canvas. You have to find the local, the regional players, and you have to cultivate those relationships so that they want to come and be where your location is. You have to, lead a horse to water and show them. And so there are multiple ways to target people. There are multiple media channels. Again, it goes back to knowing your customer, knowing your audience, and knowing what you want to achieve, and then working backwards to develop the strategy and then the tactics that support that.
Oh, yeah, I agree. I'm amazed that now we have an affiliate network too. And, I'm amazed when I was looking for people to join our affiliate network, some of the websites that smaller commercial brokerage companies have, don't you think that needs to all kind of start there, that needs to be cleaned up? I mean, I can imagine that's a lot of what you do is, do you go in and say, hey, this is what you need to add to your website?
Yeah. Often we go in and do a complete website overhaul. So it goes back to kind of the branding and knowing who you are. It start with mission, vision, values. Who are you as an organization? What's your business plan? What do you want to look like? What do you want to project? And then we put together a brand guide package that's the Bible of everything that you put out to the public. So websites don't have to be intricate and detailed and huge and highly interactive anymore. That's what people are looking at social for. But it needs to be pretty, it needs to be credible, and it needs to tell your story.
And it needs to tell you what you want to hear. Like, what are the basic things people are going to your website for? Let's give it to them quickly, because people's time is money. People value their time. And so we want to make sure that we can get them from point A to point B as quick as possible.
Yeah, because I was in shock sorry, go ahead, Michelle. Sorry.
Who are you? What do you do? And how do I contact you?
Yeah. And, I was going on those sites. A lot of the links didn't work. The colors that were being utilized, it just looks like somebody just got sick all over the screen. I'm like, are you kidding me? It's got to be appealing. People need to know how to look at colors. But I really was disappointed in some of the websites that were out there, because that's where you're trying to drive everybody to. You're trying to drive them to that home base to get business from them, and that wasn't being done. So there's a big market out there.
Yeah, and that plays into like the collateral package. So the website is the digital part of the collateral, but what do your flyers look like, and what do your MOUs look like, and what are your e-blast templates, and your just the messaging? It all has to tie together. It all has to look together. It has to be cohesive. It should look like brother and sister pieces.
Right.
You're presenting and sharing that information. So having a watchdog on your team, a branding watchdog and messaging kind of watchdog, goes a long way, because it helps to develop credibility for your brand in the long term.
Well, that's what I don't think a lot of brokerages get, is that this is an investment. This marketing, if it's going to be to bring in somebody like yourself, or you're going to have somebody in-house, it's a great investment. Your reach will go out exponential. You've got to invest in it. You've got to make it look right, and it needs to be consistent.
Yeah, we have a brokerage group right now that we're working with. That's a small team, about 4 people. Had no social media presence before the pandemic. We took over their program and account, I believe, in February of last year, in February of 2020. February of 2020. Yes, February of 2020. And then, they've grown tremendously. They do a lot of landlord rep type work. And because of their growth on social media and being out there and active, they've probably gotten 4 or 5 more landlord rep projects. So those are just because they have the credibility and they're being seen by people and they're known now to be that person, even though before the year, they didn't have that experience doing that. Now, all of a sudden, they're the most credible, sought after group in that space, in those markets, because we've established that credibility online.
Now, I'm going to ask you something that I hear often from brokerages, and I want to see how you overcome it. I don't have the time. is what they'll say. Oh, I don't have the time to do that.
Great. Then you outsource it. No problem.
I'm
No
just
one has
like,
time. You know, you make time for what's important. So you either make
Yeah.
time to do it or you farm it out and you outsource it. There's a lot of things I don't have time for that I outsource. I mean, that's
You know, Joe, something I say to some of the agents here as well when it comes to, you know, like I don't have time for it. I always talk about time value money for my agents. Is your time worth the value, you know, for the return on the money? And ultimately, if you look at the, you know, the cost and the returns, I mean, if you spend even a half hour a day working on your social marketing for the agent on the personal side of it, you know, you're looking at that's what, 100 and if you did it every single day, it's 180 hours or about, you know, and then, but if that brought in 1 or 2 deals, that makes you an extra $50,000. Pretty good return for your time.
Yeah.
So, and that's how I explain it to the agents, like, well, where is your time? You know, take the half hour that you're watching Friends reruns and do the social instead.
Yeah, it's a return on involvement, right? It's like the whole saying of you get out what you put in. Same thing.
Yeah.
You get out what you put in. It works if you work it. It's just like
Yeah, and I think, you know, on just,
we put it into perspective there because a lot of agents are cold calling or have that experience, know how to do that. It's a numbers game. So same thing with
absolutely.
marketing. It's a presence, it's a marketing, it's a numbers game.
Yeah, well, we tell our agents, you know, obviously cold calling, but, you know, you want to do, you know, so you're doing outbound, but you need to do inbound leads as well. And that needs to come from an email program. It needs to come from social marketing, networking, you know, it all needs to be. And I believe I know the answer to this, but is LinkedIn the all-powerful tool that everybody says it is in your mind?
I think it's one of. I don't think it's all powerful tool of anything. It certainly creates credibility, gets your name out there, generates awareness, keeps you current and top of mind. But in the sense of actually closing deals, I would say Instagram has a better track record so far. Instagram direct messaging for actual deal closing.
Okay. Yeah, because I get that a lot. They go, oh, I'll just do or LinkedIn, and I might do Instagram.
It's networking, right? It's virtual networking. So it's the same as you networking in a different capacity or in real life or having lunch with someone. Same type of thing. Not a lot of business, transactional business gets done over LinkedIn, but keeping top of mind and staying afloat with what's going on, yeah.
Yeah, and I really think it's like we've got one agent that will sit, he got a couple listings for retail, right? He was going to put in a hair salon. So he'd go home at night and he'd just sit there on Instagram and ping all these hair salons. And he got great luck with that. So I think it's probably the asset class or the clients that you're looking for. I'm probably not going to go find a 10,000 square foot office user there, but for that retail, I think that worked out well.
No, but once you know who the office users are, you know who's expiring, you can do a targeted campaign on LinkedIn. I mean, we've done some stuff for specific groups that are trying to get the business of maybe 4 or 5 groups that we know who they are. And so we can target anybody who works for those groups on LinkedIn, on Instagram, on Facebook, so that they know who your brand is, they know what you do, so that when you do call them, they pick up the phone and they answer. So that's really the strategy part behind getting in front of the right people that you want. You were also talking about inbound leads. There's so much that goes along with the marketing of a brokerage group or helping to support the leasing efforts. That's another way to kind of put it. In addition to the digital footprint, you've got things like broker events or market tours that are very significant. You've got, signage. You can't underestimate the signage, the power of a sign in a storefront or a sign showing availability or telling availability. We're doing a lot with QR codes, taking people directly to landing pages for specific assets and properties. Lots with SMS marketing, so text message marketing, to text a leasing agent directly or a broker directly if they're interested in something, to get that. And then, just figuring out what events and programs and initiatives and community groups you want to be a part of, and integrating and networking with that group to get your message across. Yeah,
it's. I think there's a real opportunity here for a lot of brokers, and I really, even Clubhouse. During the pandemic, we were obviously all of us were in a little bit of shock, and somehow we found out about Clubhouse, so we thought, oh, let's check it out. And we had some pretty good success with that, mostly on the getting in connection with other commercial real estate agents around the country. But that is in turn then, we've gotten to know them, and we wouldn't have if we didn't have Clubhouse.
Yeah.
And now we're transacting with them around the country. And so even that has been, do you guys do Clubhouse much at all? Do you hold meetings?
I was really hot and heavy on it too. In December, January, February of this last year, I spent a lot of time on it. It's kind of weaned off my involvement of it. Probably when it went fully public and everybody could access it was kind of when I stopped going on frequently. Every once in a while, there's some topic or something in a room that is of interest. I like it because I can multitask while I'm listening and participating. And there's no video involved, so that's certainly a plus. But I have seen it taper off a little bit. But there are a lot of really great connections that were made in the commercial real estate space on Clubhouse for a good 6 months. And I was part of that group and certainly attest to that as well.
Yeah, it was very powerful. We were probably on a group together. We just didn't know it at the time, but it was
right.
Yeah, exactly. Well, let's go start our own. We'll get back.
Everybody's on Shlomo's group, Najla.
Yeah, right. There you go.
Shlomo, of course. I forgot. Now I forgot. Oh, Twitter. Isn't Twitter and LinkedIn doing something similar now?
What do you mean, with characters or with stories?
To Clubhouse. Aren't they doing live now too?
They are doing live communications centers. I haven't participated in any of those yet. Our clients really aren't there and haven't demanded it yet. And it's not, leisurely, it's not something I want to do right away. But it's out there. It depends on your platform again, right? Where's your audience? If your audience is on those platforms, we should look at it and consider it. If your audience isn't and the communication isn't there, then maybe not. Something that Twitter has been doing lately is now they're able to advertise for specific brands on the banner. So you can actually, purchase within the app. So that's something that we're looking at for retail brands that have a product that they're actually selling, but not on the audio side yet.
Okay. There's one thing that, again, back to, there needs to be a plan. Do you find you have most success when you have a brokerage company has a plan of when this is going to go out then, and then they automate it? Is that something that, because I know so many guilty, first of all, is I have time to post something. That's what I do.
Yeah.
And so, if I had a plan, I think I'd have a little more success. Is that all true?
We always recommend having a plan. We used to do, just for social media posting, we used to do 30-day content calendars, and then COVID and the pandemic hit, and those all got thrown out the window. So now we usually do about 15-day content calendars so we can change and adapt more. So we always recommend at least a 15-day ahead content calendar. And then, as things come up daily, you just move things around, shuffle them around, push things out. But yes, it keeps everybody from scrambling, and it makes everything flow a lot better and smoother if you have a plan.
Yeah, okay. And it goes back to that strategy, right? So the content calendar on the social side is really important, but also from a, lease signing or execution dates and when it goes to market, and if you buy something, if you close on something, really mapping all those milestones out so that we can celebrate those milestones. We can announce them. And then again, that all helps to propel your marketing. We can announce tenants. We do a lot of coordination with tenants once they are signed in a location to help market their space and help make an announcement for the brokerage group or for the property. So all of those things have to come into play, and those all take time. You can talk, 6-month timeline from the time you get, you're talking about the deal, you get it done, almost ready, you get it signed. We can start to talk to the tenant. There's just, sometimes it takes 30 days, sometimes it takes a year. So planning that stuff out and having all of those kind of in a linear timeline helps us to pull content to know what's relevant when.
Right. Now, one thing that we focus on most of our content, obviously we do some fun stuff once in a while, but mostly it's bringing value to our community. We find something that is, there's something, either we're bringing something on the market or we've closed something like you say, but also something that's going on in the community or some statistics in the community. Is that something that you recommend to your commercial brokerage?
So there's a whole host of things. So we go through and determine what are your pillars? What should we be posting about that's important to you and your brand? Things like whatever's in your email blast that's sending out should be mirrored on your social so that that message and information is going out at the same time. Client spotlights are always great. Center spotlights or location spotlights or even cities that you're doing business in are great. Partner and property features or facts around those specific properties or cities, municipalities. Employee spotlights are always great to shine an example on somebody within your group who's done something really well. Thought leadership, speaker series, conferences, bold stats or differentiating statistics around your group or how you can influence others is important. Even market specific things that you might get, absorption numbers, things like that. Listing deals, highlighting specific listings, industry trends and news, regurgitating information that others have put out if it's relevant to your market, your people, the people that are important that you're sharing with. And then targeting, specific uses or users or spaces and putting content that might entice them to follow you also. So there's a whole host of things that you can post and how you can post them and when you can post them. And that all goes into that whole plan.
Okay.
A lot of things don't have to be timely. So you keep a basket of items that aren't timely. You have them on the calendar, and then as timely things come in, you just pop those in. But people don't need to know if you had lunch with this person. They don't need to know if it was this week or last week. A lot of people feel pressure. I need to post it right away, and I'm not scheduled. You can keep a stockpile of photos and content and publish them as they're.
And most people have an Apple phone, so we like to just use the Apple photo stream, the shared content. That's a nice hack. And so when people are out taking photos that might be good for social, they can just put them into that folder. And then when they're ready to post or pull content, they have a bank of imagery and information that they can pull from. And we actually use that with clients as well. So we have brokers that are out and about. They'll take a photo or two, they'll put it into their shared photo stream, and then we'll do our magic and doctor it up, write the captions, explain what's going on, and post it for them. So lots of times, all they're doing is snapping a photo and putting it into a drive.
Well, you guys make it sound awfully easy. Now we got to convince the commercial brokerage industry that it's really that easy. So they either need to find you guys, which we're going to put your contact information down below, and they're going to be able to find you guys, or they need to hire somebody. But thank you for all this incredible information. I mean, you guys opened up a lot more than I wasn't expecting you to give all this pertinent information. It's incredible you did because it brings so much value to our subscribers. And so I want to say thank you for that. George, thank you for coming on today. And thank you folks for tuning in. And if you haven't done so, make sure you subscribe. Michelle, Najla, thank you. And see you again soon.
All right, take care.